Indonesia is about to rewrite ASEAN history by becoming the second nation in the region to operate an aircraft carrier. But this could either be the most brilliant strategic investment that reshapes naval warfare, or it could turn out to be the most colossal, multi-million-dollar financial blunder in the history of the Indonesian military. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Amidst the boiling point in the Indo-Pacific, the intense arms race among neighboring countries, and the aggressive expansion of superpowers, no news has shaken the defense community quite like the massive rumor that the Indonesian Navy is sitting down to negotiate the purchase of the Giuseppe Garibaldi, Italy's recently decommissioned flagship aircraft carrier. This isn't just your typical third-world country sweeping up a batch of second-hand warships. It hides a deep strategy, challenges conventional thinking, and represents a massive gamble for Indonesia as they transition into a new era of naval warfare. Today, we're going to unpack, dissect, and analyze this from every possible angle. First off, let's get to know the Giuseppe Garibaldi. This isn't just any ordinary ship. It used to be the absolute pride and joy, the fangs of the Italian Navy. Built during the simmering tensions of the Cold War, it entered service in 1985. With a displacement of around 14,000 tons, it's classified as a light aircraft carrier, boasting incredible agility compared to American supercarriers. During its absolute prime, its main job was serving as a floating airbase, carrying squadrons and vertical and short takeoff and landing strike fighters like the AV-8B Harrier II. These jets would strap on heavy ordnance, launch off the ski-jump deck, and patrol the waters of the Mediterranean. It's a combat-proven veteran, having seen action in global hotspots, including peacekeeping missions in Somalia, Kosovo, Afghanistan, and operations in the skies over Libya. But time is undefeated. Even the strongest steel ages. As combat technology evolved, fifth-generation fighters like the F-35B Lightning II got bigger, heavier, and crucially, their exhaust heat became way too intense for the Garibaldi's 1980s-era flight deck to handle. Italy had no choice but to pour massive funds into building a larger replacement, reluctantly preparing to retire the Garibaldi. This leads to the massive, million-dollar question. What on earth is the Indonesian Navy thinking trying to acquire a 40-year-old steel beast with outdated technology? And that brings us to the most heated and fiercely debated topic in military circles. The big critique is, if this ship actually braves the waves and makes it to Jakarta, will it actually set sail to project power with honor, or will it ultimately become just another port queen? In naval slang, port queen is not a compliment. It refers to a massive, incredibly expensive warship that the military simply doesn't have the budget to fuel, maintain, or even take out for crew training, so it just sits tied to the pier, gathering rust, serving as nothing more than a giant photo op. Owning an aircraft carrier isn't just about handing over the cash to buy the ship and calling it a day. You are buying a floating city that needs to sustain nearly 1,000 crew members. More importantly, it can't operate alone. It requires an entire escort fleet sailing right beside it, air defense frigates, destroyers, and submarines. The cost to run this military ecosystem multiplies the original price tag dozens of times over. This is especially true when you look at Indonesia's geography, an archipelago of tens of thousands of islands stretching across the ocean. The bulk of their defense budget desperately needs to be distributed across high-speed patrol boats and coastal radar systems to cover that vast area. The decision to siphon off a massive chunk of the budget to feed a single 40-year-old giant could severely cripple the combat readiness and maintenance of the rest of the entire national fleet. This is a massive defense economics dilemma that Indonesian military leaders will have to justify to their public. To give you a clearer picture of these terrifying hidden costs, let's break down the engineering specs and do a rough order of magnitude cost comparison pound for pound between the Garibaldi and Thailand's legendary carrier, the HTMS Chakri Narubet. Looking at the table, the most fascinating and alarming point from a naval engineering perspective is the propulsion system. Even though the Garibaldi is over 40 years old, it was designed to be an absolute powerhouse using a COGAG system.
It utilizes 4 pure gas turbine engines, pumping out a massive 81,000 horsepower, allowing this giant to easily tear through the water at over 30 knots. But that raw power comes at the cost of a brutally high fuel burn rate, because gas turbines simply aren't designed to be fuel efficient during slow patrols. So that initial $150 million procurement budget might sound like an absolute steal for an aircraft carrier, but the true nightmare is hiding in the annual operating cost. Top-tier military analysts estimate that just maintaining basic combat readiness, paying salaries, fueling up, and routine maintenance will burn through $30 million of Indonesia's defense budget every single year. And let me emphasize this, that doesn't even include the cost of buying guided missile systems or the price tags of the drones they plan to put on it. This is exactly why many are betting that these ballooning costs will ultimately force Indonesia to keep the ship in port, sealing its fate as a port queen. But let's keep an open mind and look at it from another angle. Indonesia might not be looking at the Garibaldi through the lens of Cold War-era naval tactics. They have zero plans to go out and buy second-hand Harrier jump jets or wait in line for F-35Bs to land on this deck. That means they don't want a traditional fighter aircraft carrier. Instead, they are playing chess, looking way ahead to the future, attempting to modify this 40-year-old steel hull and transform it into the drone Mothership. In modern combat zones, whether in the Middle East or Eastern Europe, drones, or UCAVs, have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are the ultimate game changers. They are dozens of times cheaper than fighter jets, require risking 0 pilot lives, and can loiter in the sky tracking targets for days on end. What's crucial here is Indonesia's incredibly tight relationship with Turkey's defense industry, the makers of top-tier long-range attack drones like the Bayraktar TB3. The brilliance of the TB3 is that it features folding wings and specifically engineered aerodynamics, allowing it to take off and land on short ski-jump flight decks on warships. Just picture this. If Indonesia successfully pairs the Garibaldi with a fleet of armed TB3 drones, it would be the most monumental tactical leap forward in the region. Instead of sending real flesh and blood fighter pilots into harm's way, they could park this ship safely outside enemy firing range, launch a swarm of killer drones to patrol the waters, track enemy fleets, or even fire missiles to destroy targets thousands of kilometers away. We're talking about merging a cheap second-hand ship platform with hyper-advanced tech, instantly giving an old ship the sharpest and most modern fangs in ASEAN overnight. If this drone mothership project becomes a reality and actually works in practice, it will inevitably send massive shockwaves through the geopolitical balance of power in the region. And naturally, the first pair of eyes watching this move without blinking will belong to the dragon, China. Indonesia has chronic maritime disputes with China around the Natuna Islands, where Indonesia's exclusive economic zone overlaps with China's infamous 9-dash line. We constantly see footage of Chinese Coast Guard vessels applying pressure on Indonesian fishermen. If Jakarta possesses a mothership capable of launching 24/7 drone patrols over those waters, it sends the most aggressive political and military message yet to Beijing. Indonesia is ready and possesses the capability to detect and respond to sovereign incursions faster and more decisively than ever before. Meanwhile, their southern neighbor, Australia, is probably going to have to pull out their national security strategy files and do a complete reassessment. On the surface, they maintain good relations, but deep down, Australia has always viewed Indonesia as both a buffer and a potential flashpoint. The fact that the largest navy in ASEAN is about to field a mobile floating aerial attack platform that can deploy anywhere in the region will undoubtedly act as a catalyst. It's going to push Australia to accelerate their acquisition of nuclear-powered submarines under the AUKUS Pact to maintain the shifting balance of power. Indonesia's move here is a single chess piece that shakes the entire Indo-Pacific board. And when we talk about the ASEAN context, we absolutely have to draw a comparison with the Royal Thai Navy's HTMS Chakri Narabet. Historically, Thailand was the pioneer, the first and only nation in the region to proudly operate an aircraft carrier equipped with AV-8S Matador strike fighters. But as time passed, the threat landscapes for these two countries went in completely opposite directions. Thailand has been fortunate that over the past few decades, we haven't faced a maritime threat severe enough to warrant launching a squadron of sea-based strike fighters. Coupled with the hard lessons of the 1997 economic crisis, the HTMS Chakri Narrabet underwent a brilliant tactical pivot. It was repurposed into a helicopter carrier acting as a central hub for disaster relief, which has proven to be incredibly effective and provided immense value in saving civilian lives. Indonesia, on the other hand, faces a vastly more challenging geographical reality. They have active maritime disputes, face naval incursions from superpowers, and deal with constantly evolving modern threats. The arrival of the Garibaldi, reborn as a drone mothership, is expected and interpreted as an offensive platform built for real-world conflict zones. It's a fascinating ideological clash. Thailand's warship for humanitarian relief philosophy versus Indonesia's resurrected old warship with killer drones philosophy. It's going to be incredibly exciting to watch which direction the maritime balance of power in ASEAN shifts next. And that is the wrap-up of the epic saga surrounding Indonesia's new aircraft carrier. Will this initial $150 million investment, saddled with nearly a $30 million annual maintenance burden, be worth it to birth the Indo-Pacific's guardian drone mothership? Or will it succumb to the harsh reality of old warships, becoming just another port queen sitting quietly while rust eats away at it? Only time and the sharp vision of Indonesia's leadership can give us the real answer. So what do you guys think? After hearing this deep dive, do you think the Indonesian government made the right call or the wrong call betting on this 40-year-old ship? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Mick is waiting to read all of them. If you love hard-hitting, deep-dive military analysis content like this, don't forget to smash that like button, share the video, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a new upload. See you in the next video.